Good evening, everybody. This is David from New Blog Hosting. I hope everybody out there is doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. And I wanted to do this video because we've had a lot of tickets come up about it lately, and we've seen a lot of WordPress vulnerabilities out there, if you will. And if you would, please excuse the background here. I'm in the media room of my office / house where we do a lot of media work and video encoding. So here we are. What I wanted to mention was, we've seen the WP Bakery vulnerability, and we've seen some other major vulnerabilities in WordPress recently. And there's a lot of misconceptions that I want to talk about here. I want to talk about what a vulnerability is, why we have vulnerabilities, what you can do to help yourself with those vulnerabilities, and what we do here at New Blog Hosting to try to keep your site safe. Now, we're going to talk about this on a very high level. I don't have my computer screen open here for a reason in this video like some of the others. I don't want to get into code and showing you code. I feel like for most bloggers out there, that's irrelevant. Because when your site gets hacked, you see that it's hacked, you see something's not right, your first thing to do is panic and submit a ticket to us or whoever your host might be, expressing that there's a problem, you need it fixed. So what I want to do is talk about it on a very high level and try to make it a little more understanding, or easier to understand, excuse me. First, what is a hack? How does it happen? Well, if you open up any of the files of WordPress, it's done in a language called PHP. If you open it up, you'll see all sorts of letters, characters, and think of it as learning Spanish or whichever foreign language you learned in school. You learn to write it, you learn to say it, and you learn to interpret, say, English to Spanish or Spanish to English. Okay, what you have here is a programming language. That programming language has certain constraints that it works in, just like the English language. You have various files inside of WordPress that make WordPress do what it does. Now, that language can be hacked. Why can it be hacked? Because one, WordPress is a free product. I think we can all agree to that. What happens is you have multiple people working on WordPress. You have multiple people working on WordPress core. You have multiple people working on the WordPress theme or themes, because there's millions of them, and we have multiple people working on WordPress plugins. So, okay, let's look at it this way. You've got the base that's a language, then you've got your plugins out there, and you've got your themes. Everybody with me so far? When you get there, in order for a theme to work, it has to talk to the base language, correct? The base platform of WordPress. For a plugin to work, it may have to talk to the theme. It may have to talk to the base version of WordPress. It may have to add files. It may have to modify files for that plugin to do what it needs to do. So, think of it as letting a stranger inside of your house. You think that stranger is going to be pretty. They look nice when they knock at the door, but you let them in, and then 5 minutes later, you find out that they're not so nice, and they punch a hole in your wall. You didn't know they were going to do that. How does that relate to WordPress? You have to trust that when these theme developers and these plugin developers are writing their code, they're doing it in the most secure way possible. And sometimes that's just not the case. They're looking to get something out. They're looking to make a name for themselves, like a YouTube video or a blog post going viral. They throw it out there. They hope everybody likes it. It may be safe. It may not be safe. Same goes for plugins and themes as well. And I know you're thinking, well, David, WP Bakery is a commercial product. Why was it hacked? It may have not been hacked directly. Somebody else might have been able to get to the files based on a backdoor. Now, what is a backdoor? If you've ever opened a hacked website and you look in the file manager there, you'll see files there that may contain names you recognize, or they may contain names that you don't. Those could be backdoors. Now, a backdoor is exactly what it sounds like. Think of the burglar crawling in your window. He knows how to get in. He knows you leave the window open at night, so he comes on in. That's what these hackers do, folks. They've got tools that scan your websites for these vulnerabilities. They see a way in, they take advantage of it. They see a back door, if you will. They take advantage of it. They leave you with whatever they leave you with. A defaced website, a hacked website, mysterious files, no content. Whatever they decide to do is what you get left with. And 9 times out of 10, not always, but 9 times out of 10, this is due to a vulnerability somewhere in somebody's code. Could be WordPress, could be your theme developer, could be a plugin, could be all three. Because all three have to interface for your website to work. That has to happen. And WordPress has to leave so many doors open or revolving, if you will, to allow these plugin developers and theme developers, pardon the pun, to plug in to WordPress so all this works as expected. That's part of what makes WordPress great, is because we have all these doors open where people can create. And, that's a negative because you can't control the standard at which people use to create. You can't. And that's just something we have to deal with. Now, how do you keep your website safe? Well, a few things. One, make sure your plugins are up to date. Make sure your WordPress version are up to date. Make sure your themes are up to date. Hackers are out there looking for vulnerabilities. When they see them, they strike. The best way to make sure you don't have any vulnerabilities is to make sure all your software's up to date. That's your first issue. Your second issue, Make sure you're using really good passwords. Hackers use tools to scan for the admin pages of WordPress. They try to log in. It's an automated process. Some call it a brute force attack, if you will. Make sure you've got a strong password and a decent username. Also, use some sort of security plugin, such as Wordfence. Wordfence is my personal recommendation. Wordfence is a plugin that watches over your WordPress code. That's the best way to say it. They watch what comes into your website, and the folks at Wordfence have a database of known vulnerabilities. And they block the known vulnerabilities. They block people from modifying some of the code. And in the event that something does look a little off or somebody does get in, you'll get a neat little email or a reminder or alert in your dashboard, hey, you need to scan, or a file was modified. In certain cases, Wordfence will fix that for you. In certain cases, you need to submit that ticket and go ahead and create that backup and get some help from our team at New Blog Hosting. Or let us do that for you, or whoever your host may be. Now, if you're still with me and you're not scared, and I hadn't scared you off just yet, how does your host protect your site? Well, for some hosts, that's a mystery. I'm going to come out and say some hosts probably don't do anything. I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm not going to make anybody feel bad or anything like that. We have various security measures in place at New Blog Hosting that is always scanning incoming traffic, always scanning incoming hits to our infrastructure. If something has been detected before or something is on a known list of something bad, we automatically block it at the infrastructure level so it doesn't even get to your website. We have tools that are updated daily of vulnerabilities, of things that come through, of IP addresses of known hackers, if you will, of malicious files that they're using for that day. We detect it at the infrastructure level and block as much as we can. No host is going to block everything. But I'm going to go out and say that we at New Blog Hosting do a far better job than a lot of those big box hosts out there. And you know who I'm talking about. Again, I'm not going to name names. We have tools in place to help you clean up your website in the event that it gets hacked. We understand that we primarily host WordPress sites, and we understand that hacks are going to happen because, you don't know if a plugin is a secure plugin or not when you install it. You don't know. It could be written by a company. That doesn't necessarily mean it's safe. It could be written by somebody in a back bedroom somewhere. You don't know. Think of all the big companies that have been hacked in the last couple of years that have made national news. If they can get hacked, then surely, WordPress or just about anything else can be hacked. Everybody has had their day. The key is smart passwords, use the Wordpress firewall. You've got us watching your back at the server side with all our tools. Keep your stuff up to date and be smart. If you're going to abandon your blog for a while, let somebody know so we can keep it up to date for you. Understand that these things happen. And understand that using the correct steps, you can minimize your risk. But your risk is never eliminated. It's just like your computer on your desk. It could be hacked or get a virus the next time you open a website or download something. You wouldn't know about it. But you had that virus scanner there to alert you to remove it or that something was detected. All you can do is minimize those risks. I see a lot of people out there, my host is bad, my site got hacked. No, it's not always the host's fault. Let's be clear about that. Some hosts, other than us, do a good job. They do a really good job. It happens. When you have one of these problems, the key is to take a breath. You should know beforehand what type of backups you have available or what type of backups your host have available, and we do have backups available. Sometimes it's just as simple as restoring a backup from yesterday. Going in, updating your plugins, updating your WordPress, and you're good to go. Sometimes it's just that simple. If you get hacked, take a deep breath. Take 2 deep breaths. Send that ticket to us or your host. Calmly let us know what you're seeing. Let us take a look at it. We've seen thousands of websites. It could be something we can fix in 5 minutes for you. And the problem is eliminated. The key is not to panic. Because if you've done the right things, you've got some backups. There's nothing to worry about. You have to worry when it's been 2 weeks since you've been to your website. It's been 4 weeks since you've been to your website. And you go and it's hacked. Because then you have to ask yourself, how far back do I have backups? How far back do they go? How recursive are they? And sometimes you don't know that answer. Sometimes there may not be a backup if you've let things go that long. So if you're vigilant, you pay attention, you won't have these issues. It'll be very easy to work through. Know that it's part of the internet. It's part of open source software, such as WordPress. If you have questions, check us out, newbloghosting.com. If you'd like, you can submit a ticket, support@newbloghosting.net. We'll be happy to help you. You can always stop by and ask us what specials we've got running. We've always got something happening. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to our team. We'll be more than happy to help you. If we can't help you, we'll point you in the right direction. Take care, guys. Have a good day. Happy blogging, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.